Within this lesson for Unit 5, we have radical equations, so we're going to solve equations. We'll go through a couple of different examples before we hand it off to class. All right, so here we'll have the only difference here now from what you've seen before in the past, you have a radical sign. So if you solve equations before, let's take the first question. You would have had something like 3x equals 6. Step still remains the same here once you get rid of the radical sign. So if you want to get that to x equals, you would need to isolate the variable. In this case, get rid of 3. So you're always doing opposites. If it's multiplying by 3, to get rid of it, you do the opposite of multiplying, which is divide. And since you got an equal sign, what you do to the left side, you have to do to the right side. And you'd have an answer 2. The step that we need to deal with first, though, is the radical sign. So the only difference between what you've done before in the past and now is you have to get rid of the radical sign. So it's just one extra step. So let's just get this out of the way. So first, how do you get rid of a radical sign? Well, you do the opposite of taking the square root. The opposite of taking square root is to square both sides. If I square the square root, it will make the radical sign be removed. But I have to do it to both sides because we got an equal sign there. So 6 squared is 36. And then the process stays the same. Get rid of your 3. Divide both sides by 3. Cancels. And here your answer will be 12. And if you want to check your answer, see if you're right, insert it back in. So you could substitute in x equals 12. Let's just see. So if you had 3 times x, or 3 times 12, will that equal 6? So equals, does it equal 6? Question mark. You have root 36, and square root 36 is 6. So yes, your answer turned out to what you were told it was going to equal. So you can always do self-check there. All right, so we got question 7. Here now the only difference is where you have another number underneath the root sign that we're adding on. Well, process still hasn't changed. If it's just the root sign on the left side, that's all we have here, just the root sign, then square both sides. And remember, it's a -1 that gets squared. So be careful here in dealing with negatives and squaring. So squaring a square root sign, you have x plus 2. -1 squared is -1 times -1, or 1. All right, so first thing, get rid of anything you're adding or subtracting. You're adding a 2, so to get rid of it, you would subtract 2 from both sides. So 2 take away 2 is 0. 1 take away 2 is -1. And let's check that again. So if you had square root x plus 2, does that equal -1? Well, let's stop in. X equals -1, so let's put -1 in here. -1 plus 2. Square root of -1 plus 2, that gives you 1. Your answer will be square root of 1 is 1. Now, we just stop here for a second. You might think we made a mistake here. We get a 1 back as an answer. We were told it's going to equal -1. That shouldn't seem surprising to us. Let's just stop. Can you take the square root of a number right now and get a negative answer? For what we're doing in math, no. Okay? So we can look at that and say, this wasn't the solution. X equals negative 1 isn't the solution. Now, the steps were right. It's just mathematically it doesn't work out. Now, we will go through some other questions. We'll take a deeper look at this after as well. And you'll see that for what you know in math right now, it's not right, but I'll show you later how it is right, if that makes sense. Let's pick one with a little more work to it. So let's look at 12. Okay, so here is a little busier a question. So you have 3 times some root plus 5 equals 2. Don't get caught up distracted by this bigger root and then multiplying by 3. Think of it again as if you just had 3x plus 5 equals 2. This here is just something that you have to deal with. So just treat this as you would an x. Same steps. What you do first is get rid of whatever you're adding or subtracting first, outside of the root sign. So you can't get rid of the negative 1, so just focus outside the root sign, you get a 5 here. That means to subtract 5 from both sides. So you would have 3 root 2x plus 1. And 5 take away 5 is 0, so it cancels here on the left side. Then you have 2 take away 5, negative 3. And don't go ahead and square yet. Get rid of this 3 here. Divide both. You're multiplying by it, so divide both sides by 3. You get a negative 1. And then you need to get rid of the root sign, so square both sides. And this turns back now to what you should be more familiar with. Solve this for x. So bring the 1 over, subtract 1 from both sides, or bring the 1 over. So it cancels here. 2x equals 0. Divide both sides by 2. X is 0. Okay. And you could check that. You can check it quickly here if you want it. Put your 0 back in. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 take away negative 1. You can, probably seems like it's not going to work out because you can't do the square root of a negative number. So not always. Like here, you have to verify your answers to see if you can actually work some of these equations out. And we'll go through this a little more when we're in class, what this means. So I don't want you to get mixed up and think here that, well, we're doing solutions, but solutions don't make sense. I'll mention in class why they're not working. And in some cases they do work, so don't think they always don't work. Last one here. We'll look at 16. So again, this little difference here is that you have a cube root, but don't let the root part distract you. This is going to be 6 times whatever some number is, that's what the root is, subtract 7 equals 11. Process stays the same. Get rid of whatever you're adding or subtracting first. So we get rid of the negative 7. So you can add 7 to both sides, or I also said in class, just move your 7 over. When you move it over, it changes sides, or add 7. That wouldn't change. Six times, and just think of this as some number, equals 18. Well, you need to get rid of the 6 first. Divide both sides by 6. Cancels. Now you get a cube root. Well, if we square to get rid of square roots, we're going to cube to get rid of cube roots. So cubing a cube root, leaving with 4x plus 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is 7. And again, here now it's just working out the algebra. And get 3 over. 4, subtract 3 from both sides. It's 24. And then your answer here. So you get 4x equals 24. I just brought it up here because I was going to run out of space. Divide both sides by 4 because you do the opposite of multiplying. Division. There you go. X is 6. And if you went to check this one, 6 cube root of 4 times a number plus 3. Subtract 7. It should give us 11. Well, let's put a number. Number 6. 24 plus 3 is 27. Cube root 27. So we would look here at this part. Is 3. 6 times 3 is 18. Take away 7, 11. So we did get back what we expected. The word questions, we'll tackle those in class together.